Hi, and welcome to Discovering Dataflix. Today, we're gonna do a little special thing that can be a bit tricky. There's a lot of steps to it, but it's something that often comes up when you want to use only use a table sometimes, but not always. And in this case, we're also going to set it up so that we use the same table for two different values in our item. So if you look at the application, we have a location here, and I would like to set up a default location for the item so that we, for instance, could make a lookup in the list to see all the items that does not appear in their default location because someone might have moved something. So what we want to do is we want to stop this one and go into our item table. And here I would like to add an ID called default location ID. And it should be the same as location ID, so it's an integer of 6. And then we save that. But now I also want to relate this to the location. And we already have a relationship to the location here, as you can see. And if I want to add a relationship to the location, I cannot do that because it's kind of already taken. So what we have to do here is we need to create an alias table. And let's call that default location. So now we have a new table called default location. And if we look at the data dictionary for that one, it uses the same system count, system location ID, so it's auto-incrementing just as the other one. And if you press F7, you can see that it is an alias file of the location data dictionary. So everything is set up as intended. Now let's go into the item again, because we want to create a relationship to the default location. And we have a default location ID, and we have the location ID here. So let's save that. So now we got the database set up. Now what will happen in our view as we go in and run this? Well, we haven't added anything in our view that actually should change anything. So we should be able to run this, but save. No, okay. Let's just set holiday. Save this record. And we get that it can't save because it has this default location required. And we would like to not have that required. And there are a few ways we can do this. So let's look in our item. See. In the data dictionary here. You only see the location here, but actually in the, we're going to item data dictionary, and press F7, you can see that we actually have the default location added as a server. And we can try a few things here. I'm not 100% sure that they will all work, but we can do a send remove server file default location dot file number, and press F1 for help. Send remove file server ifile. Yep. And that should actually remove the relationship to the default location as we run this application. But that's a bit dangerous, because if I now go in here and find my Christmas decorations again, press save, it will be saved, but it will most likely overwrite the default location. And we would like to add a default location here that we should be able to save. So we do not want to do that in this view, at least. And we would also like to add the default location. So let's go in here and see. Yeah, we don't have the default location in the DD structure yet, right here. So we want to add it. And now we would like to add the name. And let's see if we can get it right in here. And I want that to be moved up here. And I want to set label position top. And I want to change that to default location. And now we're going to run into a few new problems. Item. First of all, we don't have a lookup on that one. And if I find the Christmas decorations, well, it's of course empty. So we would like to create our own web lookup here. So we need to create a web object lookup wizard. And we're going to use the default location. We're just going to pick the name for now. And now in our data dictionary, we do have the default lookup. If we run this, we should see a lookup class in the form as well, so we can pick our default location. There seems to be something messed up in the Oh yeah. We haven't actually added the default location to the default location data dictionary. So if we add that, we should actually see the prompt on the default location as well. Yeah, there it is. So now it will look up in the default lookup, but now we have another issue. And that is we pick our Christmas decorations and it's blank. we pick, say, the garage and save. And now we go back to Christmas decorations again. Now it's saved in the garage. Okay. And can we actually delete that and press save? All right, let's see. That still says the garage. What happens if we go to something else that does not have anything in the default location and then just press save? Yeah, we're getting this error. Parent record not allowed. So the default location, they're not allowing us to do this change in the default location, and that is, we're actually trying to save something that does not exist. And in order to do that, we need to go back into the code, into our data dictionary here, and say that we want to allow set parent null allowed default location file number to true. And what this should do, if we read up in the documentation, is that that should allow us to be able to save a item without any default location. And if we now run this, we can see that if I take our Christmas tree and save, I don't get an error message. Now we could go to our Christmas tree again and pick a default location, save that, and now perhaps I would like to remove this. But in order to do that, I need to select something that doesn't exist here. So the easiest way, you could add like a 0 element programmatically into this list. But if that list is long, it might be hard to find. So it might be easier to add a button here that just clears this default value. So let's see how we do that. Let me stop here. And first of all, we're going to add a button to our view. We're going to call it clear. And again, in order to show this, we want to have the label position on top. And we might also have to add a label. No, why don't we get that moved down? Yeah, we need to show label as well. There we go. So in order to clear this, there's a procedure. It's called request clear binding table of default location name. So we can use that to remove the binding. And let's see how that goes. Oh. So we pick our Christmas tree, clear, and it seems to be cleared here. Yes, let's go into our Christmas tree again. And this value is now cleared and saved as cleared. Now we could, while we're here, try to do some more special things, like for instance have a specific category change the status of the default location to mandatory or something. Then we would have to go in here and just say in the procedure on constraint. So we want to check if item dot category is equals to food, for instance. And what we want to do here is set parent to false. Let's run that. And now we go to the item view, and if we pick a carpet, we can save that without any problems. And if we go to something food related, like ice cubes, then the category is food. Try to save that. That works. It says item category is 0. Okay. So we cannot constrain of the value inside here. So what we want to do, let's just see if we can run this without and get this one activated. Let's continue. Item save. No. So we need to do something else as we are progressing through this. Because as I press save, we go in here, we set the allow parent to false, but that just isn't enough. And we should probably do a webget value we check the S category instead. And that should help in this regard. And yes, the S category is food, so we get in here. Item, we go into some ice cubes. Cold. So we need to update the description here, because otherwise it won't save anything, so we won't get the error or save prompt. We save this, and now we get the error. If we go into some Christmas decorations, plastic, we can remove the test. We press save, there's no default location. Yeah, of course, right now we actually have switched, so we need to make sure that before we switch, we set it to true again, so that we reset the value. And we go into item, and we pick our Christmas tree. We delete the test, press save. Now we're allowed to save. We pick something with food, change that, save, and we're not allowed to save. We're missing the parent, the default location. And then we can just for show go back to the Christmas tree, change something, save record. We can still save the record. This way you can programmatically pick and choose if you want to set it to mandatory in some certain cases or not. And I hope you enjoyed that, and that you get a lot out of it. And as usual, if you have any questions or ideas on what I should talk about in these videos, feel free to write me an email or write in the comments below. And otherwise, hit the bell button to subscribe, and see you next week. Bye bye.